Day 168, Divided Kingdom, 1 Kings 21, 2 Chronicles 21 through 22, Song of Solomon 7. Let's begin. 1 Kings 21. And after these things, in that time, there was a vineyard of Naboth, the Jezreelite, who was in Jezreel, beside the palace of Ahab, the king of Samaria. Therefore Ahab spoke to Naboth, saying, Give your vineyard to me, so that I may make for myself a garden of herbs. For it is nearby and is beside my house. And I will give to you, in place of it, a better vineyard. Or if you consider it to be more convenient for you, I will give you the price in silver, whatever it is worth. Naboth responded to him, May the Lord be gracious to me, lest I give to you the inheritance of my fathers. Then Ahab went into his house, angry and gnashing his teeth over the word that Naboth, the Jezreelite, had spoken to him, saying, I will not give you the inheritance of my fathers. And casting himself on his bed, he turned away his face to the wall, and he would not eat bread. Then Jezebel, his wife, entered to him, and she said to him, What is this matter, by which your soul has been saddened? And why do you not eat bread? And he responded to her, I spoke to Naboth, the Jezreelite, and I said to him, Give your vineyard to me, and accept money. Or if it pleases you, I will give to you a better vineyard in place of it. And he said, I will not give my vineyard to you. Then Jezebel, his wife, said to him, You are of great authority, and you rule well in the kingdom of Israel. Rise up and eat bread, and be even-tempered. I will give the vineyard of Naboth, the Jezreelite, to you. And so, she wrote letters in the name of Ahab, and she sealed these with his ring. And she sent to those greater by birth, and to the nobles who were in his city and living with Naboth. And this was the judgment of the letters: proclaim a fast, and cause Naboth to sit among the first rulers of the people. And send out 2 men, sons of Belial, against him. And let them speak the false testimony, he has blasphemed God and king. And then lead him away, and stone him, and so let him die. Then his fellow citizens, those greater by birth and the nobles who were living with him in the city, did just as Jezebel had instructed them, and just as it was written in the letters that she had sent to them. They proclaimed a fast, and they caused Naboth to sit among the first rulers of the people. And bringing forward 2 men, sons of the devil, they caused them to sit opposite him. And they, acting indeed like diabolical men, spoke testimony against him before the multitude. Naboth has blasphemed God and king. For this reason, they led him away, beyond the city, and they put him to death by stoning. And they sent to Jezebel, saying, Naboth has been stoned, and he has died. Then it happened that, when Jezebel had heard that Naboth was stoned and was dead, she said to Ahab, Rise up and take possession of the vineyard of Naboth, the Jezreelite, who was not willing to acquiesce to you, and to give it to you in exchange for money. For Naboth is not alive, but dead. And when Ahab had heard this, namely, that Naboth was dead, he rose up and descended to the vineyard of Naboth, the Jezreelite, so that he might take possession of it. Then the word of the Lord came to Elijah, the Tishbite, saying, Rise up, and descend to meet Ahab, the king of Israel, who is in Samaria. Behold, he is descending to the vineyard of Naboth, so that he may take possession of it. And you shall speak to him, saying, Thus says the Lord, you have killed. Moreover you have also taken possession. And after this you shall add, Thus says the Lord, in this place, where the dogs have licked the blood of Naboth, they shall also lick your blood. And Ahab said to Elijah, Have you discovered me to be your enemy? And he said, I have discovered you to have been sold, so that you would do evil in the sight of the Lord. Behold, I will lead evil over you. And I will cut down your posterity. And I will put to death of Ahab whatever urinates against a wall, and whatever is lame, and whatever is last in Israel. And I will cause your house to be like the house of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha, the son of Ahijah. For you have acted so that you provoked me to anger, and so that you caused Israel to sin. And about Jezebel also, the Lord spoke, saying, The dog shall consume Jezebel in the field of Jezreel. If Ahab will have died in the city, the dogs will consume him. But if he will have died in the field, the birds of the air will consume him. And so, there was no other person similar to Ahab, who was sold so that he did evil in the sight of the Lord. For his wife, Jezebel, urged him on. And he became abominable, so much so that he followed the idols that the Amorites had made, whom the Lord consumed before the face of the sons of Israel. Then, when Ahab had heard these words, he tore his garments, and he put haircloth on his body, and he fasted, and he slept in sackcloth, and he walked with his head downcast. And the word of the Lord came to Elijah, the Tishbite, saying, Have you not seen how Ahab has humbled himself before me? Therefore, since he has humbled himself because of me, I will not lead in the evil during his days. Instead, during the days of his son, I will bring in the evil to his house. 2 Chronicles 21:22. Then Jehoshaphat slept with his fathers, and he was buried with them in the city of David. And his son, Jehoram, reigned in his place. And he had brothers, sons of Jehoshaphat, Azariah, and Jehiel, and Zechariah, and Azariah, and Michael, and Shephatiah. All these were sons of Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah. And their father gave to them many gifts of silver, and gold, and valuables, with very fortified cities in Judah. But the kingdom he handed on to Jehoram, because he was the firstborn. Therefore, Jehoram rose up over the kingdom of his father. And when he had established himself, he killed with the sword all his brothers, and certain ones from the leaders of Israel. Jehoram was 32 years old when he had begun to reign. And he reigned for 8 years in Jerusalem. And he walked in the ways of the kings of Israel, just as the house of Ahab had done. For his wife was a daughter of Ahab, and he did evil in the sight of the Lord. But the Lord was not willing to destroy the house of David, because of the covenant that he had formed with him, and because he had promised that he would provide a lamp to him, and to his sons, for all time. In those days Edom rebelled, so as not to be subject to Judah, and they appointed for themselves a king. And when Jehoram had gone across with his leaders, and all the horsemen who were with him, he arose in the night, and struck the Edomites, who had surrounded him, and all the commanders of his horsemen. Even so Edom rebelled, so as not to be under the authority of Judah, even to this day. Also at that time, Libnah withdrew, so as not to be under his hand. For he had forsaken the Lord, the God of his fathers. Moreover, he also constructed high places in the cities of Judah. And he caused the inhabitants of Jerusalem to fornicate, and Judah to prevaricate. Then letters were conveyed to him from the prophet Elijah, in which it was written, Thus says the Lord, the God of David, your father, because you have not walked in the ways of Jehoshaphat, your father, nor in the ways of Asa, the king of Judah. But instead you have advanced along the paths of the kings of Israel, and you have caused Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem to fornicate, imitating the fornication of the house of Ahab, and moreover, you have killed your brothers, the house of your father, who are better than you. Behold, the Lord will strike you with a great plague, with all your people, and your sons and wives, and all your substance. And you shall be sickened by a very grievous disease of your bowels, until your inner organs depart, little by little, each day. Therefore, the Lord stirred up, against Jehoram, the spirit of the Philistines, and of the Arabians, who are along the borders of the Ethiopians. And they ascended into the land of Judah. And they laid waste to it. And they despoiled all the substance that was found in the house of the king, including even his sons and wives. Neither did there remain for him any son, except Jehoahaz, who was the youngest born. And in addition to all these things, the Lord struck him with an incurable disease of the bowels. And as day followed after day, and the space of time turned, the course of 2 years was completed. And after having been wasted by a long consumption, so much so that even his inner organs were discharged, the disease ended along with his life. And so he died of a very grievous illness. And the people did not make a funeral for him, according to the custom of burning, as they had done for his ancestors. He was 32 years old when he had begun to reign, and he reigned for 8 years in Jerusalem. And he did not walk uprightly. And they buried him in the city of David, yet truly, not in the sepulchre of the kings. Then the inhabitants of Jerusalem appointed his youngest son, Ahaziah, as king in his place. For the robbers of the Arabians, who had fallen upon the camp, had put to death all those who were greater by birth before him. And so Ahaziah, the son of Jehoram, reigned as king of Judah. Ahaziah was 42 years old when he had begun to reign, and he reigned for 1 year in Jerusalem. And the name of his mother was Athaliah, the daughter of Omri. But he too went forth in the ways of the house of Ahab. For his mother impelled him to act impiously. And so he did evil in the sight of the Lord, just as the house of Ahab did. For after the death of his father, they were counselors to him, to his destruction. And he walked in their counsels. And he went with Joram, the son of Ahab, the king of Israel, to war against Hazael, the king of Syria, at Ramoth Gilead. And the Syrians wounded Joram. And he returned, so that he might be cured at Jezreel. For he had received many wounds in the above-stated battle. And so Ahaziah, the son of Jehoram, the king of Judah, descended, so that he might visit Joram, the son of Ahab, at Jezreel, while he was ill. Indeed, it was the will of God against Ahaziah that he would go to Joram, and when he had gone, that he also would go out with him against Jehu, the son of Nimshi, whom the Lord had anointed to destroy the house of Ahab. Therefore, when Jehu was overthrowing the house of Ahab, he found the leaders of Judah, with the sons of the brothers of Ahaziah, who were ministering to him, and he put them to death. Also, while he himself was seeking Ahaziah, he found him to be hiding in Samaria. And having been led to him, he killed him. And they buried him, because he was the son of Jehoshaphat, who had sought the Lord with all his heart. But there was no longer any hope that someone from the stock of Ahaziah would reign. For indeed, his mother Athaliah, seeing that her son had died, rose up and killed the entire royal stock of the house of Jehoram. But Jehosheba, the daughter of the king, took Joash, the son of Ahaziah, and stole him from the midst the king's sons when they were being slain. And she hid him with his nurse in a bedroom. Now Jehosheba, the one who had hidden him, was the daughter of King Jehoram, and the wife of the high priest Jehoiada, and the sister of Ahaziah. And because of this, Athaliah did not kill him. Therefore, he was with them, hidden in the house of God, for 6 years, while Athaliah reigned over the land. Song of Solomon 7. What will you see in the Sulamites, other than choruses of encampments? How beautiful are your footsteps in shoes, O daughter of a ruler! The joints of your thighs are like jewels, which have been fabricated by the hand of an artist. Your navel is a round bowl, never lacking in curvature. Your abdomen is like a bundle of wheat, surrounded with lilies. Your 2 breasts are like 2 young twin doves. Your neck is like a tower of ivory. Your eyes like the fish ponds at Heshbon, which are at the entrance to the daughter of the multitude. Your nose is like the tower of Lebanon, which looks out toward Damascus. Your head is like Carmel, and the hairs of your head are like the purple of the king, bound into pleats. Most beloved one, how beautiful you are, and how graceful in delights! Your stature is comparable to the palm tree, and your breasts to clusters of grapes. I said, I will ascend to the palm tree, and take hold of its fruit. And your breasts will be like clusters of grapes on the vine, and the fragrance of your mouth will be like apples. Your throat is like the finest wine, wine worthy for my beloved to drink, and for his lips and teeth to contemplate. I am for my beloved, and his turning is to me. Approach, my beloved. Let us go out into the field, let us linger in the villages. Let us go up in the morning to the vineyards. Let us see if the vineyard has flourished, if the flowers are ready to bear fruit, if the pomegranates have flourished. There I will give my breast to you. The mandrakes yield their fragrance. At our gates is every fruit. The new and the old, my beloved, I have kept for you.